Welcome to the Thrivable World Quest. Here's just some information that might be useful for you today. So, what is thrivability? Thrivability is really the intention and practice of aligning organizations and business with thriving people and thriving living systems. It's about putting life on the planet first. What is the Quest? The Quest is a playful, piratey, global learning adventure where people in different cities all around the world get together and explore an aspect of thrivability in organizations. And often we were asked, are the outcomes of these events? Well, first you get to have a community, a local and global group of kindred spirits. And you also have an experience of a thrivable event. And you get great questions and ideas that hopefully stay with you.
I've been a science advisor to the U.S. government for about 8 years, but my training is in cognitive science, which is an interdisciplinary field that studies how thinking occurs in organisms, such as humans, and also in machines. And I'm particularly interested in how collective thinking might occur in groups of connected humans and machines. And this is an emerging area called human computation. So that's how I spend my time. So what excites me about the Quest? This will be from sort of my perspective as a cognitive scientist and a human computationalist. I think a key aspect of understanding and building human computational systems involves understanding the relationship between individual goals, collective goals, system stakeholder goals, and also how all those goals interrelate within a world context. And so I'm going to speculate out loud and say that maybe one way of thinking about this continuum of lifeness is in terms of thrivability. So this is maybe a new way of talking about or defining thrivability, but I think it has to do with connectedness. So to have synergy, synergy is measured in terms of the strength of the connections among individuals and the impact of those connections relative to the impact that the individual makes without those connections. So maybe one way to distinguish living from thriving is that living can be done in isolation to an extent, but thriving requires connections. And the more connections we make, and the more we leverage those connections, and the bigger the impact of those connections, the more we're actually thriving. So that's a long way around saying that I think the Quest helps to build these connections, to identify what the common collective goals might be in the world, what we might like those goals to be, and how we can align ourselves as individuals and organizations with those goals, and to make the biggest impact by strengthening the connections between the individuals and the organizations, between the organizations and collections of organizations, and other even larger systems, global political systems, and the natural Earth system. I think each person brings unique qualities to any kind of collaborative enterprise, and so if by structure what we're talking about is the collection of those things, then I can imagine that what we might find is an interesting and surprising collection of resources, and in particular we might identify, and this is where the synergy I think comes into play, is new ways in which these things can be combined toward new outcomes, toward the collective goals. So here we find ourselves on an island and we're sharing uh, these different capabilities and components that each of us brings to the island. So, how do we mix these together in new ways um, toward enlightenment, new capabilities, toward a better world? I think one aspect of thriving is is and I think Mary Catherine Bateson has said this best um, uh, in a paper she wrote called "Making a Difference." That is, we each want to have maximal impact in the world. We want to know that we're making some kind of contribution. So I think part of this island quest is about individuals recognizing what's my contribution, uh, and what are the contributions of the people I represent or the organizations I represent, and how can we make a difference in the world? I think thriving is somehow directly connected to this idea that we're not just here existing, but we're influencing the sphere of our existence, both in a microcosm and in the world. So I think your island provides a kind of a collaboration medium and exploration space for for exploring ways of making that kind of impact. So anyway, I applaud your efforts. I'll be excited to see um, what comes out of this next quest, and so I wish you a fruitful quest and a journey of enlightenment.
So we're exploring the island of structure. Now, what do we mean by structure? What we're looking for are the tangible and intangible structures, those things that help us to deliver what you're masterful at to the world. What is that structure? Good luck.